Hello and welcome to another edition of What in the World is Going On? Actually, it's Rob Carson's What in the World. But you kind of got to throw your hands up in the air and say, what in the world is going on, don't you? At least the last 24 hours. How's your life been the last 24 hours? I've been a little nuts lately, hasn't it? Got word today that my daughter's school and the entire state where my daughter goes to school is school's out for summer. School's out forever. Are you out of your effing mind? State of Kansas. I live in Kansas. Makes you kind of wonder. We're not in Kansas anymore. I can't believe it. My daughter's school is out for the rest of the year. They have no contingency plan, by the way, whatsoever, with regard to the how they're going to teach classes, how they're going to get anything done. To be honest, there's no video conferencing way to do classes. She goes to a high school. The high school has a couple thousand kids in it, and every class is going to go live. Are you kidding me? My son goes to the University of Kansas. Kansas. Oh, hey, Kansas. You know, I don't know. I've lived all over the country. I live in the Kansas City area. I live on the Kansas side of the Kansas City area. And I find out that my son is done, except for he's going to be doing, I guess, classes via the interweb through the end of the year. So he's moving effectively what I expected to happen whenever school's over, late May or whatever. He's moving home, which, and I love him moving home. And don't get me wrong, I love him moving home. But really? It's St. Patrick's Day, and nobody can go out and have a drink. It's St. Patrick's Day today, and nobody can go have a drink, at least where I am. The Kansas City area, the entire area, all bars and restaurants closed down. Now, what does this mean? Well, you can't go out and party with your friends. You can't go to your favorite Irish bar. And all of the people who work at that Irish bar who wait tables are going to go broke. They are going to attempt to bring food curbside. But government bureaucrats have decided that it's no longer safe to go to a damned restaurant with your family or you're going to get sick. Want to say hi to Brian and Alan and Diane and Diane, hello. John, all you guys, thanks for joining me tonight and share, because I want to have a serious discussion about this. Are you freaking out about this? Are you freaking out about the coronavirus? I'm not. I hope and pray for the safety and security of the population of the United States and of the world. But there is something about this that doesn't seem real. And I'm not saying it because it's surreal. There's something about this that doesn't seem real. And I'll explain as the show progresses here. But I want you to look at the I've got a little graph here that I can't show you, but I'm going to talk about it. Right now in the entire world of 6.5 billion people, 197,167 people have contracted the virus. 80,000 people have recovered. 7,905 have died. And it's terrible and it's awful. I get it. But as far as pandemics go, this is a pinprick. This is a pinprick. Now, I'm not an epidemiologist. Don't claim to be. But this is not a thus far mass casualty event. And the reason why I say that, and you're like, Rob, you're tempting fate. Oh, millions of people are going to... here's the deal. In Wuhan, China, where this started, they're returning to work. They're returning to work in Wuhan, China. And there are some people who live there who are not Chinese. They are from other parts of the world, and they are saying that things are returning to normal in Wuhan, China. Now, here's the interesting thing about Wuhan, China. And listen, there were a lot of casualties in China. In fact, let me just tell you, China bore the brunt of the casualties. 81,000 out of 197,000. 81,000 confirmed in China. In Hubei, China, 3,111 deaths. That's where the lion's share of the deaths have occurred. 56,000 people have recovered in that area. Now, that's a gigantic portion of the world's sick. And hi, Ilana, and hi, Kevin, and hi, Mikey. Bax, how you doing, buddy? But I'm not here to posit a conspiracy theory. I'm just here to say, whoa, back up. And you've got people who are saying that 1 million people in the United States of America are going to die. There are some people who are saying that we have to lock down the country, martial law in every single city in the country. We have to shut everything down. And listen, I am I have no friends, so I pretty much have to come home and not do anything. But 1 million Chinese in a country of 1 billion Chinese did not die. Okay? They did not die in China. And I hate to tell you this, not the most cutting-edge medicine in China. I mean, they grind up rhino horns and tiger paws and stir them into tea, for crying out loud, in a lot of places in China. So why weren't there 1 million people dead in China? Why weren't there 1 million people dead in China, and yet we are willing to say that 1 million people are going to die in the United States of America? Now, again, I'm not there with the panic. This morning I got up early. I always do. I went to Walmart. I needed a cable for my printer. By the way, if you know anything about an HP Pavilion P2014 computer and why it is not pairing with my freaking computer, help me out here. Irritating. It was working fine. My Auntie Kay is joining me, and yeah, she's in the healthcare. I get it. She's in the healthcare industry. She works with a lot of older folks. And listen, this is a very serious thing with regard to the elderly, with those who are afflicted by other things. I get it. I absolutely get it. But guys, right now in the world, less than 200,000 people have got the virus. Okay, 7,000 have died. 80+ thousand have recovered, and the lion's share, about half of those people, have been in China, where it originated. All right. Italy's getting slammed. 2,500 deaths. 2,900 have recovered. Okay. In the United States of America, 108 deaths. And these are rising. And listen, I'm not meaning to take away from this, because it is a serious thing. As far as people who have recovered, 17 have recovered in the United States. And this is small potatoes. All right. Now, there were some positives done while this was progressing. While Donald Trump was being impeached, he restricted travel from China. Then, as we realized, the hotbed of infection was Europe. He restricted travel from Europe. Canada is restricting travel from every place but the United States. Canada, of all places. In the United States, we've had 108 deaths, 55 in Washington State, 13 in New York, 12 in California, 6 in Florida, 3 in New Jersey. Let's go down to Kansas. How many people have died in Kansas because of coronavirus? Would you like to guess? 1. Okay? 1 person in Kansas. Nobody in Kansas has recovered from the disease thus far, but 1 person in the entire state of Kansas has died from the coronavirus. They closed down the University of Kansas. They closed down all of the public schools in the state of Kansas, in Johnson County. Not sure about the rest of Kansas, but all the bars and restaurants are closed. Thomas Rudis has joined me. Thomas, a former restaurateur. You can imagine the economic impact as a restaurateur with regard to having your restaurant closed down. Now, I have to go to work every day, and I go to work every day, and I put on hand sanitizer, and I've been washing my hands, like crazy washing my hands and using hand sanitizer. And again, I went to Walmart this morning, and the store shelves are bare in a lot of ways. Forget about toilet paper. There ain't no toilet paper. There's no hand sanitizer. I asked about that. They almost kind of laughed at me like, did a spit take? There are no Clorox wipes there. You and I have never seen anything like this before, right? You and I have never seen anything like this before. And yet, if you look at the world map and you look at the number of deaths and the number of infections under 200,000 people have actually got it, 197,000. And again, I'm going to say that right now in China, in Wuhan, in the provinces in Hubei, China, where 56,000 people have recovered from it, they're going back to work. Okay? We started tracking this. Donald Trump started tracking this in January. Many people are saying that we have a long way to go. Could be months and months and months and months. The president today saying, we're going to send everybody a check. Gio, hello, and Bud, welcome, and Chris and Robin, thank you for joining me. So some people are going to get a government check. I just wonder, guys. I wonder why we're reacting this way. When you look at a world population, I figured out the numbers today. Hold on, let me find them here. I figured, and I'm terrible with math, by the way. I'm terrible with math. And I said this because, I've got a son who's freaking out about this. And he's going to be, moving home and all that. But, by the way, 0.0016, that's 1/1000th of the American population have gotten the virus. Okay? 0.00027% of the world's population has gotten the virus. Okay? Your chances of catching the virus and dying are less than 1 in 10 million. Okay? Less than 1 in 10 million. Why are we closing the schools? Why are we closing the restaurants? Why are the airlines going to go bankrupt? Why is my business, what I do for a living, to pay the bills? This is the fun stuff here, kids. But why in the world are people afraid to get out? Why in the world are people reacting this way? Why are your store shelves empty, for Christ's sake? Have you been to a store lately? Are you nuts? Guys, this is unprecedented in the history of as long as I've been alive. And because 197,000 people in a world of 6.5 billion people have come down a virus, 7,900 have died. The original place where it started, Hubei, China, they're already going back to work. Something's not right here. Chad Potier, how you doing? Ryan, hello. Keep up the good work there, Ryan. Appreciate it. Tessa, hello, Tessa from Paris. How are you? By the way, in France, in the country of France, and that's where Tessa lives, and God bless you, and I think about you guys, and you and Todd are wonderful. 148 people have died in France. Okay? As far as, I don't have any numbers on France as far as recovery is concerned. Let me see here. United Kingdom, 52 people have recovered. In France, 12 people have recovered. Hello, Dancy. How are you? My friend from college. Guys, I'm just saying, and I'm doing this because I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid for me. I'm concerned. I'm concerned that if you've got this pandemic that is shutting down schools, that is causing municipalities around the country to lock everybody down. In the state of Illinois, Pennsylvania, you cannot buy liquor. The governor of the state of Pennsylvania has decided that because the state liquor stores are run by the state, they're going to close them down. So if you live in the state of Pennsylvania, for some odd, inane reason, and considering that alcohol is, the number one ingredient in hand sanitizer, why in the hell would you want to ban alcohol? But in the state of Pennsylvania, the governor has said no more liquor sales. Why? In Champaign-Urbana, the home of the University of Illinois, the mayor of the city of Champaign has said you can't buy a firearm and you can't buy booze. Why? Why? In the city of San Francisco, they've got a major lockdown. You cannot get out of your house. You should not go out of your house unless you got to go to the grocery store, maybe. Otherwise, all the restaurants and bars are closed. This again, 200,000 people in the entire effing world. Hi, Gio. 200,000 people in the entire effing world have acquired this. 80,000 of them, almost half, have recovered, and 8,000 have died. And again, it's terrible. It's terrible that 8,000 people have died, but these numbers are a pinprick when it comes to pandemics. When it comes to the swine flu that happened in 2009 and 2010, where 61 million Americans were afflicted by it and 15,000 people died. And again, I'm saying this because in Wuhan, China, 1 million people didn't die, and they're already returning to normal. So unless China did something unprecedented that the United States and other civilized countries in the world are doing right now, something is askew. Something is askew. And by God, I am not going to give in to fear. I'm not going to give in to fear. You know why? Because I have too much to live for, and my family is that, and my friends are that. I have too much to live for, and I'm not going to embrace panic, and I'm not going to freak out. One of the things that I do while I'm attempting to make a living doing video and radio podcasting and all that stuff is I sell cars. It's quite interesting because when I go to Hendrick Toyota in Merriam, Kansas to sell a car, about half of the people that I've been corresponding with say that we're going to put it off for a couple of weeks because of the virus. And that includes people in their 20s. You know who the most bold people, the most bold people? Older people. I sold a car to a couple in their 70s today, and they weren't concerned at all. They weren't concerned at all. Are they foolish? Are they, well, we're this old. I mean, we might as well go. No. They weren't concerned at all. Met a gentleman yesterday. Sold a car to him. Really cool guy. Did the elbow, bump. The other guy who worked is a guy named Caesar. His one of his associates. He shook my hand. He said, shake my hand. I'm like, all right. We did a little, a little hand sanitizer after that, But people who have been on the planet a little bit longer than they're saying, come on, man. Really? My mother's 90 friggin' years old. I talked to her the other night. I said, Mom, I want you to be careful. And, when you're 90 years old, you're like, you know what, if this is the way I'm going to go, I guess this is the way I'm going to go. But at the same time, she's not concerned, and she's not going to stop living her damned effing life, and she's not going to go out to dinner she's not going to stop going out to dinner with my sister. So in San Francisco, they've locked down the city. It's martial law. The mayor of New York, Bill de Blasio, has suggested a military stance with regard to the city. Are you out of your effing mind? Are you out of your effing mind? To bring out the national, to people talking about bringing out the National Guard, and 200,000 people in the world have had it. And again, where it originated, Wuhan, China, where 80,000 cases, half of the world's cases have taken place, where in Wuhan, China, they've gone from 15,000 new diagnoses in a day to 15 in a day. And we're freaking out like 1 million people are going to die in the United States of America. And guess what? It didn't happen in freaking China. We've got to calm down. We've got to calm down. And I have a feeling that there are some people who are attempting to to capitalize on this, to expand government. And you can placate the masses by saying, hey, we'll send you a check for $1,000. And people are like, oh, $1,000, that'll be awesome. Why is the government sending you a $1,000 check? Because the government shut down your way of life. The government is saying you cannot leave your house, you cannot go to a restaurant, you cannot go to school, all of that. And for all of that, the bargain price of just $1,000. There is something askew. Hello, Kelly, how are you? Thanks for joining, and also you, Debbie, and David Craig. Here is Bill de Blasio looking for any excuse, the mayor of New York, who was a candidate for president for about 3 seconds, but he's such a despicable, awful person with terrible policies, and he's despicable and awful. Here he is talking about the next step for New York, which, I mean, is bordering on, literally, military rule.
That's on everybody's mind, and that is the issue of shelter in place. This is a reality that is being talked about.
By the way, this a-hole went to the YMCA to work out right before it closed the other night.
Because this crisis continues to grow. We are all deeply concerned about...
Why isn't it growing in Wuhan, China? Why has it stopped? Why has it gone from 15,000 diagnosed cases in one day to 15 in a week? Why?
The direction and the trajectory, even as we get new information daily and hourly.
Why are there not 1 million dead Chinese right now?
And we're trying to better understand the specific trajectory. It's quite clear this is a fast-growing crisis. In my view, I think the right guidance to give all New Yorkers is, even though a decision has not yet been made by the city or by the state, I think New Yorkers should be prepared right now for the possibility of a shelter-in-place order.
Which is an order from the government to take over your entire life. Be ready for it, guys, because we're doing it for your own good. We're going to give you $1,000 a month, but you got to let us control everything.
It has not happened yet, but it is definitely a possibility at this point. I believe that decision should be made in the next 48 hours. And it's a very, very difficult...
This is setting people up, softening people up for a massive power grab.
...decision. I want to emphasize that.
It is not a difficult decision for you because you're an autocrat.
It is difficult anywhere in the United States of America. It is particularly difficult in a city with such a large population, so densely populated together. But I think the point has come where that decision does have to be made. We will be communicating closely with the state. Obviously, it's a decision we want to make in common. And I think it's just right to let people know that there is that possibility.
Just wanted you to know, in case we decide to... Oh, and thank you very much to the UK Daily Mail for that. I just wanted to soften you up. I just want to make sure that you're ready when I decide to take over everything, that you're ready for it. Are you ready for that? There's going to be a point, guys, and I want you to think about this. I want you to think about the number of people who are being affected by this because the government is saying we have to shut everything down. Even though hold on, let's look at New York State. Gigantic population. Let's look at let me see here. Let me see if I can find it. United Kingdom. Blah, 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 blah. New York, you've got a couple hundred cases of the virus. I think 12 deaths. Let me double check here. I got to make sure because I'm dealing with a live map here, so I'm trying to get through it here. Germany, France, Italy. I don't have it right now, but here's the deal. Right now in New York, I think less than 20 people have died, and the mayor of New York is talking about shutting down the city. Here we go. Here the U.S. Let's look at New York. New York has had 13 deaths. New York has had 13 deaths. How many people live in the city? 10 million people? 13 people have died in the state of New York. 13 people have died. That's fewer than pedestrian deaths in New York City on probably a weekly basis. And this man wants to take over the city. You shelter in place. You cannot leave. What? Are you kidding me? I mentioned that there's no chance of a zombie apocalypse in this country. Just want to allay your fears because we watch a lot of Netflix and we watch a lot of, Walking Dead and all that crap. There's no chance of a zombie apocalypse because there aren't enough brains to feed the zombies in our country. 13 people have died in the state of New York. What other 13 people have died from what in New York? Hundreds of people have probably died from influenza in the last month in New York. And this is going to shut down the city. And again, I go back to where the virus originated, in China. China, as Donald Trump would say, China. 3,230 deaths out of 7,000 worldwide happened in China. And again, people are going back to work in China. What kind of sense does it make? Hello, Jeff. Jeff, how you doing, man? Shamrock, good to see you, man. Marty and Jason as well. This is not meant to be some sort of a diatribe in one way politically. It's just a discussion about common sense, for Christ's sake. Are you worried? Could things turn on a dime? Certainly. Why didn't it happen in China? Well, because, they just kill people. You're sick? Oh, we'll just kill you. Why didn't it happen in China? In a country of 1 billion people. We've got 335 million people. They're saying 1 million people could die in the United States. Why didn't it happen in China? All right. I have a little, hold on. I've got a bunch of stuff here. Here's Joe Biden during the Democrat debate the other night. If you want this guy in charge of pandemics, I'd be a little concerned. Here he is talking about the current pandemic, which is the coronavirus.
We can do that. We did that. We've been through this before with the coronavirus. We've been through this before. We've been through this before with dealing with the viruses that the N1H15, as well as what happened in Africa.
What are you talking about, Ebola? I guess he's talking about Ebola. I can only assume because his mind is like, toys in the attic. Meanwhile, you've got the president of the United States, who is, and you may disagree, but I think he's doing a hell of a job. While he was being impeached, he restricted travel from China, and people ripped him about it. And now it's making total sense. And now you've got whatever the hell, is it Trudeau? Is he the president of Canada? Whatever the hell it is, anyway. And he's saying that they're going to shut off all sorts of immigration from every other country but the United States. I mean, this is Canada. And Donald Trump, he got that going. While we were focused on impeachment, while the Democrats were focused on getting him out of office, they were putting all of these firewalls, all of these preparatory things in place, and it may have stopped the pandemic from really hitting us. And again, 1 billion people or 1 million people didn't die in China. The president has taken a lot of heat about, of course, because he's a racist, right? He's a racist, and I'm a Trump supporter, so I'm a racist. I'm a Nazi. I'm a xenophobe. I'm a homophobe. I'm right. I'm a homophobe. I'm a xenophobe. And because he said, let's shut off, flights in and out of China, since 50% of the world's cases of coronavirus and 50% of the deaths came from China, and it originated in China and all that stuff. Maybe we should do that. Maybe it's a good idea. It's like your kid comes, some kid comes to school, he's violently ill. You send him home. Donald Trump said, no. China, hey, you got to figure this out. In the meantime, we're gonna take some time. You can come this summer. It's lovely, and the weather's better and everything. And honestly, you should, seriously. But the president now is calling it the Chinese flu. Why is the president calling it the Chinese flu? He said it a couple times, and it's infuriating people because they're saying it is xenophobic and it is racist and all this stuff, and it's not. Because China decided that even though it is a communist regime that is lies about everything, created the virus in a what could presumably be a biological warfare laboratory in the middle of Wuhan, China, and it escaped. It's not about bat soup, by the way. that China would blame it on us. Oh, yeah, the military exercises, and, we brought some soldiers in from the United States, and they planted the virus, and Donald Trump said, you're high. And I said the other day, that's like blaming the person you gave chlamydia to. And so Donald Trump was asked about calling it the China virus. And here is what this lucid man, as opposed to Joe Biden, said about it.
China and others have criticized you for using the phrase Chinese virus. How do you feel about that? Are you going to continue using that phrase?
Well, China was putting out information which was false, that our military gave this to them. That was false. And rather than having an argument, I said, I have to call it where it came from. It did come from China. So I think it's a very accurate term. But no, I didn't appreciate the fact that China was saying that our military gave it to them. Our military did not give it to anybody.
Critics say using that phrase creates a stigma.
No, I don't think so. No, I think saying that our military gave it to them creates a stigma.
Thank you. And you gave us the virus, biatch. Okay? China gave the world a virus. China gave the world chlamydia and is now blaming and saying, hey, you know what, honey? Listen, there's $20 on the dresser. Get out of here. Right. Hello, Deb. How are you? And hello, Randy. Good to have you guys and Andrew as well. Please share with other people because I think you're going to get a unique perspective on it. And for God's sake, at least a little sanity. A little sanity. Because states are closing down schools till the end of the year. Universities are closing, restaurants and bars. Today is St. Patrick's Day. And nobody where I live can go and hang out with their friends and celebrate St. Patrick's Day. And people are going to be losing their livelihoods. Because states like Kansas, where one person died, more people have died from the flu in the state of Kansas than have died from this virus. And we didn't close down the schools and shut all the restaurants because of the freaking flu. Colorado nurse who contracted coronavirus said her illness has been nothing like she had ever expected. Her name is Lisa Merck. She is 50 years old. Here she's talking. And again, I don't want to take away from it because I don't want to get this. I don't want to get it. I have a feeling because I'm a fairly healthy person and I don't smoke and I work out and I, all these things, and I'm not, I'm under 60 years old and the whole deal. I think I'm going to be cool. Do I want to tempt fate? No. But I'm not 80 years old. I'm not 70 years old. I'm not an emphysemic. I don't have cancer, and so I'm not really worried about it. And since most of the people who get it are asymptomatic, They never show anything, and it just goes away. Here she is describing her experience.
Like I expected.
Lisa Merck is speaking out from isolation in her Crested Butte home.
Yes, I have coronavirus. I didn't go out and get it on purpose.
The Air Force veteran doesn't know where she picked it up. No international travel, just a 3-week trip with her husband to Hawaii.
Went to a medical conference over there, and on the day that we were getting ready to leave, I just kind of started having just little sniffles.
Looking back, that's where it all started. Sniffles, then a left side body ache on the plane ride home to Crested Butte, where she's an advanced practice nurse.
We got back to Crested Butte, and my muscles ached and my joints ached really bad. It felt like somebody was like stabbing me with an ice pick. And I'm like, I wonder if I have the flu or...
Flu tests came back negative. Then aches came with nausea. In the first 3 days of March, fever started. That's when she called the CDC.
I told them where we had traveled, kind of what was going on, and they said I didn't meet criteria, so I was fine with that.
But she didn't feel fine for days to come.
And then finally on Sunday night, I told my husband, I'm like, you need to take me to the ER. I'm just not feeling very good. I feel like whenever I stand up, I want to collapse.
Doctors at the ER said she had viral pneumonia. They tested her for coronavirus and results came back positive. And this time, she's probably lost 5 pounds due to the nausea. The muscle aches are the worst, but she's on the mend.
Now, I'm going to tell you, a few years ago, in fact, I was 31 years old. I had strep throat. and I ultimately had a 104-degree temperature, and I had a heart attack. Okay? I have had pneumonia before, where I literally laid in bed with a fever, and I could hear the bubbles in my lungs of the liquid in my lungs. This sounds fairly mild.
Just really short of breath. I get extremely exhausted, and but I feel like I'm definitely getting healthier.
It has been quite a journey for her, and this is pretty interesting. She's in isolation with her husband right now, and that's going to happen for a little bit. She's not going to be able to go back in public until she's asymptomatic. Then she has to go negative for...
Okay, again. Now, we are looking at, again, 200,000 people in the entire world, 6.5 billion people. This woman is used as a template. She's sharing her story, and I appreciate her sharing her story, but yeah, it sucks. You had some fever. You felt weak and tired and all that stuff. But there are a million things that'll make you feel that way. Like a freaking cold. Okay? Andrew says, Rob, cases of coronavirus are immensely underreported because of the lack of adequate testing. Obviously, the Chinese government did an absolute... Well, hold on. Let me screw up. Let me go up here. The government did an absolutely abysmal job containing the disease, but I don't think it's super out of line to be critical of the way Trump handled it. You're high. No, he didn't. And here's the deal. The virus didn't exist a couple of months ago, and you just can't create testing, and you can't create vaccines out of thin air. So, you know what? Honestly, bullcrap. Bullcrap. While the Democrats were attempting to impeach this president, he was making with his, because he's a businessman. You cannot, in a business, with government, you don't have to worry about failing. With government, your history can be failing. As a businessman, you cannot fail. And he took proactive steps with people and professionals, realizing that the United States was now his business. So bullcrap. I cry bullcrap. My nephew Josh has joined me. Hello. Yeah, Andrew says it's more widespread. You know what? And listen, the idiot director of the health department in the state of Ohio said, I know we've only got 200 cases reported, but 100,000 people have been infected. You're out of your gosh darn mind. And Andrew, honestly, do your research before you comment on this, because honestly, you're high. Why didn't 1 million people die in China? Why weren't 1 million people infected in Wuhan? No, half of the cases, half of those diagnosed, and half of those who've recovered have been from China. Why does that mean? Why does that mean that 1 million people are going to die in the United States of America? Please use some common sense. Do your research and come back to me. Why are there not mass graves in Wuhan, China? Okay? Why in the world do we, as a country, the United States of America, have 108 deaths, 17 people have 108 deaths, okay? 17 people have recovered, all right? 6,423 people have been diagnosed with it. Why are we freaking out about it? Yes, we need to play it safe. I get it. Don't go to a restaurant. Cool. But go about living. In China, again, 81,000 people confirmed, 68,000 have recovered. Whoa. 81,000 people have been confirmed to have had the virus in China. 68,000 have recovered. 3,200 have died. And people are going back to work. Hello, Rick. How you doing? In Australia, they claim to, and this may be, a cocktail of drugs may have possibly led to a cure of the disease. Drugs used to treat HIV and malaria could be used to tackle the coronavirus. Team of infectious disease experts at the University of Queensland in Brisbane say they have 2 existing medications that manage to wipe out the COVID-19 infections. Chloroquine, an anti-malaria drug. Chloroquine. Stop it. She's the chloroquine. Little queen thing there. An anti-malarial drug and HIV-suppressing combination lopinavir have both reportedly shown promising results in human tests and made the virus disappear in infected patients. Isn't that cool? Here is a little report about a possible cure.
To a cure for this disease.
Well, that is the potential that this drug, because it actually does kill the virus, could actually cure the infection.
Okay, well, we'll see. It could. And right now they're waiting for funding to see if it actually works. Okay? Andrew Barry says, you are literally dismissing expert opinion on the grounds that you think it's dumb. You aren't remotely qualified to say that. And it's super anti-intellectual. Is it super anti-intellectual? It's not like anti-intellectual. It's like super anti-intellectual. You know, honestly, wow, super anti-intellectual. What the hell is that supposed to mean? No. Andrew, look, 6.5 billion people in the world. Here, let me see if I can put it into some sort of context that you can understand. I wish I had a little cartoon bouncing ball. Okay. Okay, so hold on. Here we go. Let's go to the worldwide cases. Okay, here we go. Hold on. 197,000 out of 6.5 billion. 80,000 people have recovered, which means half of the people have recovered, and only 8,000 people have died, and it's tragic and terrible, don't get me wrong, but it's 8,000 out of 6.5 billion. So, Andrew, this is not conjecture. This is just analyzing the facts and realizing that where it all started, where half the cases and half the deaths have occurred, they're already going back to work. So, Andrew, love ya. Actually, I don't really know you. But anyway, please, let's again use common sense and try to understand why in the United States, where 108 people have died from this, which is like a fraction of the people who have even committed suicide in the last week in the country, 6,423 people have been diagnosed, 108 deaths. Why are we closing every goddamn bar and restaurant, every school, and all of this stuff? Why is Bill de Blasio wanting to declare martial law? Why is San Francisco closed down? Where are the homeless people going to poop, by the way? If they can't go out, can they poop on the sidewalk? Wait over there. Andrew, I'm done with you, buddy. Thank you so much. Joni likes the cartoon bouncing ball. My name is Andrew. I don't really have a clue about what is going on in the world, but I'm terrified and I'm not going to go out and I'm going to buy a bunch of toilet paper. I don't know why, because I feel like I'm going to be able to wipe out the virus, even though it's not really wiping out the virus. It is wiping something else out. But I'm not meaning to dismiss this, but why haven't 1 million people in China died? Why haven't 1 million people in China died? Okay, let's move on. Oh, Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson have moved on. They left the hospital 5 days after announcing they had contracted the coronavirus, and they are staying in a lovely mansion. It's just so, if you and I could do that, right? I mean, I have to go to work, and I have to, meet people and all that stuff. But Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson, and God bless them, they seem like they're very nice people. They have gone to, and they've retired to a lovely mansion where they can they can recover, and they're fine. Apparently, they had, before their diagnosis, they had visited crowded Australian hotspots, including Bondi Beach. Bondi Beach. Have you ever been to Bondi Beach? My God in heaven. They got a great Outback Steakhouse there, and you can go there and get a bloomin' onion. Yeah. And throw a shrimp on the barbie and have your dingo eat your baby. Anyway, they also went to the Sydney Opera House, raising fears that others were infected. People who have come in close contact with Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson will now need to self-isolate and quarantine. The premier of Queensland said, Tom Hanks is pretty cool. He's saying basically, remember, despite all the current events, there's no crying in baseball. Okay. I want to ask this question. And again, I'm not meaning to poo-poo anything. And I hope to God in heaven that I am proven right. But where are all of the people? Andrew, stop writing. I'm not going to comment on your stuff anymore. Where are the people on social media who have the virus? Where are the people on social media, Instagram, and all this stuff saying, I got the virus? Because, my God in heaven, we live in an incredibly narcissistic time in our society that we have to share everything. Where are the people on Instagram and TikTok? TikTok. What the hell is TikTok? I don't even know where TikTok is. Where is TikTok? Is it in the Ethernet? Where are all the people? Oh, I'm sick. I don't see it. And again, people are willing to share everything in the world. But they're not sharing their sickness and symptoms. This was an interesting piece from World Net Daily. Biological engineer with 4 degrees from MIT believes the coronavirus pandemic is being used by deep state bureaucrats to further their agenda. Shiva Ayadurai, nailed it, thank you. Candidate for U.S. Senate from Massachusetts warned on Twitter that the crisis is being manipulated. I believe this. Again, 6.5 billion people, 200,000 have been infected. Half of them have recovered already. Quote, as an MIT PhD in biological engineering who studies and does research nearly every day to the immune system, the coronavirus fear-mongering by the deep state will go down in history as one of the biggest fraud to manipulate economies, suppress dissent, and push mandated medicine. Let me say it again. As an MIT PhD in biological engineering who studies and does research nearly every day on the immune system, the hashtag coronavirus fear-mongering by the deep state will go down in history as the biggest fraud to manipulate economies, suppress dissent, and push mandated medicine. Now, I said this earlier today. This professor doesn't believe the outbreak itself is a hoax. I agree. Urging citizens to follow the guidelines of federal, state, and local governments and the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. He is also vowing to serve only one term. He says his campaign cite that career politicians exist to serve themselves, not America, and not you. Quote, they spend 80% of their time after election to get reelected and the remaining 20% on legislation to pay back those who funded their election. I agree. Shiva says that the CDC is corrupt, focusing mostly on reactions to outbreaks rather than preventative measures such as improving immune health. Again, as an MIT PhD in biological engineering who studies and does research nearly every day on the immune system, the hashtag of coronavirus fear-mongering by the deep state will go down in history as the biggest fraud to manipulate economies, suppress dissent, and push mandated medicine. And a takeover of every aspect of your effing lives, including St. Patrick's Day. And even though in the state of Kansas, in the state of Kansas, there's only been one death in the state of Kansas. And because of that, one death, okay, more people died today being hit by a car in the state of Kansas. But for some reason, every effing bar and restaurant is closed. Every movie theater is closed because one person died because of the coronavirus. Tell me that tell me it makes sense. Tell me that makes sense. Tell me why my daughter's school has been canceled through the end of the year. Tell me why my son at the University of Kansas has had all of his classes canceled through the end of the year and he's going to do them virtually. How does that happen when one person in the state of Kansas dies of coronavirus who was an elderly person? Okay? And more people have died of cancer in the state of Kansas in one day than this by far. Unbelievable. I wrote my friend Chris Plant today. He's a nationally syndicated talk show host. I love him. He's wonderful. He's brilliant. And I said, there's something going on here, guys. There's something going on here. And there was a movie, and help me remember, Joni and Alan and all you guys, there was a movie where there was a pandemic that kept everyone inside and all this. And ultimately it was discovered to have been faked. And I'm trying to remember what it was. But in a world of 6.5 billion people, again, 6.5 billion people, 200,000 people have gotten it. 88,000 people have recovered. Most of the casualties were in China where it originated. In the area in China where it stopped, people are going back to work. How is that going to be different in the United States, which has a superior healthcare system? Italy has socialized medicine. Italy has a very much higher percentage of people who smoke. Italy also has people who are older. And they're getting hammered. Iran, they're getting hammered in Iran. Iran, the coronavirus is rampant in the prison system, so they released 85,000 inmates. Iran is digging massive graves for it because Iran is a third world POS hellhole. Oh, Starbucks. They're going to go. You can't go into a Starbucks. So basically, you're going to have to go to the drive-thru in Starbucks instead of going and sitting. Who still goes into Starbucks? I mean, I used to do that years ago. I used to go into Starbucks and hang out and chill and all that. But, yeah, not so much. I don't have the time to go and hang out at Starbucks. But most restaurants are like this. Joni says the movie Pandemic. Is that the one where they faked? It was the whole thing fake or was it real? Because I know there was a movie that everybody stayed at home. Everybody was terrified and all this. And ultimately, it was not real. I don't know if it's a TV movie or whatever, but I saw this. You know what? I would be willing to invite 20 people to my house for a steak dinner. I would. If you're in the Kansas City area, let's do a potluck because I'm really not effing scared. All right, if you live in the Kansas City area and you like my show and you're not psychotic, we should just do a potluck dinner. Come to my house. I will freaking have a potluck dinner. I made banana bread the other day, took it to work. Everybody ate it. You know why? Because it was damn freaking good banana bread and they weren't scared of dying. Oh, God in heaven. No, this is fun. So some people got ahead of, and listen, I hate to admire these people, but there were some people who got ahead of the pandemic and bought they bought hand sanitizer and wipes. Matt and Noah Colvin of Hickson, Tennessee, they went out and they went to dollar stores and they bought 17,700 bottles of hand sanitizer online and decided they were going to sell it for much more. So they bought these bottles of hand sanitizer. They're going to sell them for $70 a pop. And the state attorney general said, no, you can't have that. You can't do that. And so the state attorney general went in and raided these guys and their hand sanitizer. And I mean, honestly, and by the way, Alan says, I'll bring the cigars and bourbon. You have the potluck. Alan, done. You bring it. Bring this. I don't drink anymore. But bring the cigars and you bring the bourbon and I will make you a sick mother not sick. I mean, sick is, a great steak. I'm willing to have let's do this. Let's do a coronavirus potluck at my house. Okay? Coronavirus potluck at my house. I'm not afraid of being sick. My family can leave. Okay? They can leave, whatever. But I'll go to your house. We'll have it at a separate location. I'll do it. Because with one person dying in the state of Kansas of coronavirus and all of the schools being closed and all the restaurants and bars, I cry BS. So here's a story. These guys, this is them having to give up their hand sanitizer to the state because they had stockpiled it. They spent $10,000 to $15,000. They were going to make a buttload of money off of it, and they were going to sell it on Amazon, and not so much. They had to take it away. This is funny. Man, I thought we was going to make us a ton of money on this hand sanitizer here. God darn it. But no, they God darn, they took it away from us. I knew a guy who's no longer with us, and he lived in Minnesota. He's an entrepreneur, and he made his money by, and literally, I'll just say the name, Irwin Jacobs. And unfortunately, he took his life about a year ago. And I worked with his daughter, and she told me that, they were living in a little one-bedroom house or whatever, and Dad bought sandbags, and he went to a flood-prone area, might have been Louisiana, and he sold these sandbags, and he took that money and he invested in other things. But he found a need, and he filled it. And these guys, they bought a bunch of hand sanitizer. They were smarter than you and me. And they might have been a little bit high on the price, but by God, I kind of admire them. I'm like, God dang it. If I had Clorox wipes, if I 2 weeks ago would have known, I would have bought the crap out of some Clorox wipes and hand sanitizer. I wouldn't have charged $70 for a $2 thing of hand sanitizer, but I might have bumped it up a little bit. All right. My wife and kids are in Florida. And they're on the beach, and they're at a hotel. And my son is freaking out. He's thinking that, the world's over and all this. And I'm like, buddy, 150 people in Florida have gotten this. And you're not even a hotbed of the activity. Hold on. Let's look in Florida. In Florida, in the entire effing state of Florida, 6 people have died. My son is freaking out. Because he thinks because in Florida and in a state of 20 million people that 6 people have died, that, oh my God, I can't go out. Yeah, 6 people in Florida have died. Did I mention also that half of the victims of this disease, half of the people who've got it were from Wuhan, China, and half of them have recovered. So the rest of the world, not so much. So they go to the beach. My son's concerned about going to the beach. He doesn't want to go to the beach because, my God in heaven, everybody's going to die if you go to the beach. Well, this is aerial footage of a packed Florida beach, and apparently Clearwater, Florida, packed with visitors over the weekend. And, everybody's calling for social distancing, which is not difficult for me because I don't have any friends. But here is the footage of people at the beach. I mean, of all the audacity to go to the beach when 6 people in Florida have died from this virus. You watch the footage.
Here to a live picture from, where is this here, John? What are we looking at? This is,
Oh, wow.
a lot of people. So if you think that
those people don't even know they're dead already. Every one of them are already dead, like zombies in a movie.
beaches are being impacted here by...
Hold on. You see that guy over there in the middle on the left next to the woman? That is not social distancing, people.
Coronavirus, by COVID-19. And by
They're all dead. I mean, what a boon for funeral directors just for these people at the beach.
the new cases that are emerging here in Florida. This is Clearwater Beach here, everybody.
That looks like Clearwater.
They're all
And
dead.
one of the questions
That one right there in the middle? Dead.
were asked here
She doesn't even know it.
earlier was whether or not the beaches were
Oh,
gonna
look at the
be
one dipping her hand in the water
impacted
there.
by
Dead.
What's going on here with
Oh, that one in the middle there that's completely away from him, I think safe. I think she will actually live.
coronavirus in the state of Florida? By the
6 people have died in the state of Florida. Yeah.
looks of it, this looks to be a pretty busy
Yes.
day here at the beaches. A lot of people here in the water. We know that Miami Beach and Fort Lauderdale Beach and some others in South Florida have closed. The Tampa Bay area beaches are not closed. I'm going to see if we can perhaps get Eagle 8 HD to kind of stay here and over Clearwater.
Yeah, Eagle HD. Let's focus on the people who are already dead and they don't even know it
for a little bit, and continue to kind of bring us some new aerials because this is a packed scene here at the beaches again in Clearwater, showing a live. Again, this is a live look here from Eagle 8 HD, showing just how many people.
Okay, Eagle HD, whatever the hell that is. It's our Eagle HD. And followed up coming the Super Doppler 8 excellent radar thing that we have. God in heaven. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Oh, I got to share this story. Disney World closed down in Florida over the weekend, and Abigail Disney, who's obviously related to Disney, the granddaughter of Walt Disney co-founder Roy Disney, she couldn't believe that before they shut down the Orlando, Florida park, and I've been there many times, and God bless Disney World, it's amazing, even though if you go there now, you'll die. Just kidding, actually. So Abigail Disney was completely freaked out because they decided to have a big going away before they shut down and started losing money, and all their employees lost their jobs because how many people, hold on, let me look at Florida. How many people in Florida are really desperately ill and dying? I already told you that. Yeah, it's not very many people. So Abigail Disney is completely freaking out, and she's saying basically, are you effing kidding me, in response to pictures of massive crowds at Sunday night's showing of Happily Ever After, a fireworks show at Florida's Magic Kingdom right before everything closed down and zombies took over and everybody died. Now, I believe those are antibacterial Mickey Mouse gloves, and you're not actually coming in contact with people. And by the way, I don't believe it's communicable to Chip and Dale and Goofy and the cows, whatever their names are, and all that, because they're animals. Goofy's like, I'm not going to die. Don't hug! You've just killed yourself! Here I am. I am here, and I'm taking a selfie, and I don't even know that I'm already dead. There's Mickey and Minnie. They don't have to worry because they're mice. Hey, humans, you're all dead. Ho-ho! Already dead. Those people, they're gone. It's over. There you go. Here's Cinderella. She's done. See y'all real soon. You're all dead. We killed you because you came here and, all that stuff and, whatever. You know what? Abacade. Are you crazy? Are you crazy? Hello, Alan. Hello, Adrian. Adrian, how you doing, my brother? And Joni. Thanks for joining me tonight. I'm just trying to be reasonable. And if you think that everybody in your life is going to die, let me get rid of this. Hold on, sorry. And if you think everybody's going to die, you need to up your meds. Ohio, Illinois, Massachusetts, Washington State, as well as New York City and Los Angeles closed bars and restaurants because of the coronavirus. Law changes in Ohio are being made so out-of-work employees don't have to actively seek work while collecting unemployment during the emergency period. In Washington, D.C., the Hook Hall Bar partnered with Restaurant Association Metropolitan Washington to start a coronavirus worker relief fund. Somebody I know, he's not a friend of mine, but he did host my 40th birthday party, and he is a legendary chef. His name is Jose Andres. Jose Andres owns a variety of different restaurants. He also gave me an autographed cookbook for my 40th birthday, which wasn't that long ago. And he had to close down Jaleo because the state told him to. because a couple of people in the state of Virginia have died from this out of millions. Here is his heartfelt response to that, knowing that the people that he loves and cares for and employs will suffer because of this mania.
And people of the world, here Jose Andres is speaking from Jaleo, my restaurant. I cannot believe that I opened this place 27 years ago and that today it's closed. Like you, many restaurants are closing, and well, if you are...
This isn't about a capitalist losing money. This is about a man who is genuinely hurt because his passion is food. He is a genius. And all of his employees, all of the people who put, and I've been to that restaurant 1,000,000 times. I celebrated my 40th birthday there. And he is agonizing over this.
The owner, maybe you are the manager, the chef, the waiter, the bartender, the busboy, the dishwasher, the night cleaner.
They're all out of work.
The delivery person, the farmer. We are all a big family. And
no, you're a greedy capitalist because you're a restaurateur. No, this hurts.
And this is going to be hard before becomes any better. We're going to go through dark times. But let me tell you, in darkness, sometimes you only need the light.
Amen.
Used to illuminate the way. So let's hope for that light. Let's hope that this will happen sooner.
The darkness did not have to become this dark.
Rather than later. Let's all listen to our governors, to our mayors, to our health experts. Let's all follow as one, as we, the people, the rules of engagement. If we do that, things will get better before they get...
Now, I agree with him on the we, because we are the only ones who are going to get through this. If you expect leadership from your government, it's not going to happen.
Wars quicker. That's what we all need to behave like one.
I agree with you. We're all in this together. We can't panic on this, man. 200,000 people in the world have gotten the virus. 7,000 have died out of a population of 6.5 billion people. Half of those have recovered. 1 million people in China didn't die. Okay. Alan, oh my God, I can't believe that Alan Halula. I'm converting Alan, for Christ's sake. I must be saying something right. And Scott and Greg, I'm not going to take this lying down. I'm going to be safe. I'm going to wash my hands. I'm going to do all this. But by God in heaven, I'm not going to let the government, and I'm not going to stop living because of this. Yes, it must be considered very seriously. But this pandemic is a pinprick compared to Ebola and H1N1 and smallpox and the bubonic plague. Coronavirus will bankrupt almost all the world's airlines by May. There you go. This is kind of funny. I think James Woods, he had a couple really funny things that he posted on his Twitter feed. One of them was, this is a couple of violinists performing a scene from Titanic, the movie, at the toilet paper idol. Literally playing Nearer My God to Thee, which is what Wallace Hartley and his band performed on the doomed Titanic as it was sinking. Here we are in the toilet paper aisle. Could be a Walmart, not sure. There it is. Nearer My God to Thee. Here we go. Oh. Adam. What do you use? I mean, honestly, when you're out of toilet paper, what are you gonna? A bidet, go in the shower, you can lean over. It's probably a good idea, actually. Bidet is kind of the best thing in the world. That's just the water fountain for your butt. Goodbye, Charmin. Goodbye, White Cloud. Goodbye, cheap, generic brand that leaves a rash on your butt because it's so one-ply and terribly uncomfortable. Yeah, I buy that too. So sad. Oh my God. I think I have a picture. Hold on. There was a, I'm not sure if I have it here. Hold on. Let me double check. No, I don't have it. Gosh darn it. I had a picture. There was a thing that had gone viral. A woman had posted a picture. Her kids took their 18-pack of toilet paper and ruined it in the bathtub. Their kids. Oh, this is kind of funny. Max Brooks. He's the son of the brilliant Mel Brooks, who did the Young Frankenstein and High Anxiety and pulling a Joe Biden here. Blazing Saddles. Brilliant. Here is Max Brooks' son doing a PSA with Mel Brooks, the freaking... God, I want to meet him before he goes. Mel Brooks, a PSA about the coronavirus. And again, we've got to protect those who are vulnerable, and this is kind of a cool way to do it.
Hi, I'm Max Brooks. I'm 47 years old. This is my dad, Mel Brooks.
Mel Brooks!
Hi, Dad. He's 93. If I get the coronavirus, I'll probably be okay. But if I give it to him, he could give it to Carl Reiner, who could give it to Dick Van Dyke, and before I know it, I've wiped out a whole generation of comedic legends. When it comes to coronavirus, I have to think about who I can infect. And so should you. So practice social distancing.
Thank you.
Avoid crowds.
Yes.
Wash your hands.
Yes.
Keep 6 feet away from people.
Sure.
If you've got the option to stay home, just stay home. Do your part. Don't be a spreader. Right, Dad? I'm going. Love you.
God, Mel Brooks is a god. Mel Brooks is a god. Freaking genius. Wow. Mel Brooks. Let's see what else. Oh, James Woods. He put a wonderful retweet of a woman's video. She had an experience at a grocery store. I don't know who this woman is, but Americans have a lot of common sense with regards to pandemics and all that stuff. But I'll play a little bit of this for you. But he posted it. I don't know who this woman is, but the voice of common sense in the wilderness as we look to politicians to solve our problems. And honestly, that's a joke.
Just left the grocery store, and as we all know, the coronavirus, COVID-19, whatever we're calling it this week,
yeah,
has driven people completely insane. And the woman in line in front of me, just apropos of nothing, just starts
this woman is a sage.
Shrieking at the poor little guy ringing her up that he
has so much more common sense than Bill freaking de Blasio.
Just touched his face, and that he therefore must wash his hands. Just shrieking this to the top of her lungs. So I'm assuming she surely to God must be the head of the CDC because she says it with such conviction. And by the way, lady, you're not supposed to touch your face. Doesn't really matter so much if he touches his. I digress.
Thank you.
The little guy says, I can't wash my hands right now. She says, I'll wait. Great. Well, I'll wait, I guess, lady. He says, I have hand sanitizer. So he takes got
to be like North Carolina.
Quarter of a little squirt, does his little thing on his hands for about a quarter of a second, which basically would have just served to incite a riot and maybe kill off 2 small, weak germs. To which the head of the CDC in her kitten-covered lab coat nods and fervently agrees that he's, saved the universe with that. He kind of refrains from rolling his eyes, which I think makes him a saint. And then she goes on to whip out her credit card and use the debit pad.
Thank you.
That every finger-licking, booger-picking, double-digit IQ idiot has touched all day long after going to the bathroom and not washing their hands.
Yes.
And then she just walks on out with her groceries. completely oblivious to the fact that everyone who handled those groceries prior to her getting them has left their little touch and trace of germs all over them.
Wow.
That going down the conveyor belt, they probably picked up chicken juice and everything else. But thank God that kid used that quarter of a squirt of Purell. She has saved the day and kept us all safe from the coronavirus.
Wow. That is magnificent. That's the common sense that maybe isn't common. I think it is, but it's just the uncommon sense and the moron and the panic that drowns out the common sense that most you and I have. Unbelievable. One more thing I want to share. This is pretty funny. This guy has become pretty popular. College student has written an adorable love song called University of Texas, like UT, right? University of Texas, Austin student David Sikabwi, 22. He's done a bunch of, and I write parodies for a living. That's what I've done for a very long time. He's written a song called Quarantine with Me, and I'm gonna bump out with this, okay? This is the last story of the day.
You can put your hand in mine once you've washed it for the recommended 20 seconds time. We should listen to the CDC. Want to quarantine with me?
We'll watch Netflix. We'll hang out.
You and me in bed alone. I'll go beneath the covers and pretend like I am the Dow Jones.
I touched my face.
The government should give us tests for free. Quarantine with me. We can shut the world outside. It's crazy times. Let's stay high and keep our social distance. We can stock our fridge with food. The smell of Lysol sets the mood. I wouldn't want to miss this. After 14 days are done,
or 3 months,
we'll walk outside and breathe fresh air and lie beneath the golden sun.
And wait for the zombies to
now
arrive.
Let's lock the door and toss the key.
Come on, baby. Come on.
Quarantine with me.
What do you say, baby? Come on.
3's a risk, but 2 is company.
That's right, people.
Do you want to quarantine with me?
Oh, yeah. Well done, my friend. As a fellow parody writer. Nicely done. Okay. I want to thank you guys for joining me tonight. I hope that we were able to share a modicum of common sense with regard to this. And again, I'm not meaning to make light. We need to take care of ourselves. We need to clean our, hands, and we need to, do what your mom told you to do. Don't pick your nose and wash your hands, and don't touch your face and all that crap, and don't lick toilet seats, and I don't know. Alan says he has his lighter in the air, like you just don't care. Yeah, that's the old school, brother. I'm using this here. Thanks for joining me tonight, guys. I think what we're doing here is a pretty darn good product. It's a pretty funny show, and I think it looks better than most guys do in their office. I hope you'll share it with other people. Will you share it, Alan? Share with all your friends on Facebook. Let's get through this. We're going to be okay. I do not believe 1 million people in the United States are going to die because of this. Okay. All right. And again, the potluck is still open. I'm not kidding here. You write this. Carson on the radio, gmail.com. Carson on the radio, gmail.com. If you are asymptomatic and have not been near someone who has the virus, I will have a potluck at my house. I'm not kidding. I will make the main dish. You guys can do sides or desserts. I don't do desserts. That's fine. But I just wanted you to know, I think we should do this, okay? Carson on the radio at gmail.com. Carson on the radio at gmail.com. I want to say good night. God bless you. Have a glorious evening. Be safe and watch the zombies because they're going to be looking for brains, and there aren't a lot in this country right now, so they'll starve to death. See you soon, guys.